whole team and now these haters salty.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to IE Sports Radio. I'm Niners Jess, along with Ty Alston, Maddie B, and your girl Bex. We are the East Coast Red and Gold. What's going on, everybody? Happy Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday indeed.
Absolutely.
Good to see you all again.
Yeah, good to see you guys. Make sure you like and subscribe to us, the East Coast Red and Gold, on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
And of course, thanks for making IE Sports Radio your direct feed for all that is sports. As just said, you can find out more at iesportsradio.com/East Coast Red and Gold. And of course, all sorts of different things you can find on there. And also a quick reminder that Planet Jerky Premium Brisket Beef Jerky is the official jerky of the 2022 California League Champion Lake Elsinore Storm and a big sponsor of IE Sports Radio. This all brisket jerky has gluten-free options, no MSG, no sodium nitrate, is low in sugar and high in protein. Brisket beef jerky, planetjerky.net, the jerky that's on a whole other planet.
All right, shout out to Planet Jerky. You know, previously on East Coast Red and Gold podcast, we previewed the Seahawks game and got to give kudos to Rebecca, who said Seahawks can't stop the run. We should definitely just run the ball at them. Matt, you mentioned how the 49ers can win playing that old school 80s brand of football where it's just smash mouth and going at them. We saw what Kyle did with CMC, a little bit of Debo, and Elijah Mitchell out there just pounding the rock, getting back to 49ers bully football. It was beautiful to see. We also talked about how Jordan Brooks is not a coverage linebacker, right? And their safety, Jamal Adams, not good in coverage. We saw a lot of passes over the middle, attacking their areas, which we were very successful on. Jess, you mentioned your key to the X factor on defense being Steve Wilks and keeping that defensive hunger going. Did they get after it or what? I mean, they were all they just shut Seattle's offense down. So a lot of things we said came to fruition, and it's beautiful to see. Let's get it on. East Coast Red and Gold, people. Tune in every week.
There you go.
It must have clearly this was played in like the night before meeting on a trip up. Like everybody was watching on the live stream.
Exactly.
Yes.
Clear.
Absolutely.
It's clear that is what happened.
100%.
You know, Jess grabbed everyone at the hotel and said, I'm going to know if you're watching or not.
It always comes back to me.
Better tune in.
Always.
Hey,
always.
I'm just saying.
You know this. I know this. We all know this. Yeah.
Exactly.
Just a couple of shout outs. We got John LaJoy.
What up, John?
We got Jameson. What's going on, buddy?
Hey, buddy.
Hey, Mo.
We got Brian Culp.
BC in the house.
He's also going to get some jerky, planetjerky.net. Go and get some. And we got Kali Young.
What up,
What's
Kali?
up? All right. So 9 years in the making. We got our revenge.
Right.
Only took that long. On Thanksgiving, eating turkey on their field. George Kittle took the whole damn platter with him.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah, I thought our guys were respectful with it, though, unlike the Richard Sherman.
Well, you know what that was, though? That was Channel 4 being disrespectful and just putting it on the 50-yard line.
Yes, I'm glad you brought that up because I was going to mention that too, because they set up a whole table with chairs on the 50 and made this whole spectacle presentation out of it. And it was like, did they really have to do that? And the table was much longer than it needed to be for 3 people. So that just added to it. And it was like,
almost like they brought out a
overboard
dining room table.
Yeah, like it was the Last Supper, right? It was one of those long tables. It was just 3 people there.
So Channel 4 kind of did that, like Michelle Tafoya and her little groupies put that on the 50-yard line, But ours was very
NBC. You're blaming NBC for that, right? Just
they get a partial blame.
Partial
blame for the whole presentation of it, right?
Yeah,
You
but
know,
you can't take away Richard Sherman all up in the face of the camera.
Yeah, that's true.
that's what I was about to say. Yeah,
And
That's true.
yeah, he still gets a party foul for
list for that.
What's up, Taryn? Thanks for joining us. Yeah, so we finally got to eat that turkey on their field. Kylie says that Bosa made a cameo, had me rolling, no carbs, just meat.
That's right.
Amazing. I have questions. The first question I have is I saw people, whoever got the turkey leg, after it got dropped the first time, of course, because it got thrown up, and then the person dropped it. And George stuck with it. Like, he didn't just leave it there. He just said, screw it. 5-second rule. Back up into the crowd. Guy gets it. They pan to the crowd. The guy is sharing meat. People are picking meat off the, it's just a community meat. Like, did anyone get any sort of food poisoning? Or was it great? Everything is fine? Everybody's good? Everybody's good?
Even the one that Debo threw, the guy, like, he caught it and he just ran.
Exactly.
Yep.
Let me grab that meat. Like, what is happening here? Like, I'm all for a good turkey leg, but like, 5-second rule, we're cool. All right, I'm cool with that. Like, whatever. Like, if we're gonna go like full old school Thor, I guess, so be it. But
When in doubt.
When in doubt, just take the turkey, man. Just that's it.
When in doubt, just take the dub and not worry about
Whip the turkey out, right? Like, that's really what it boils down to.
And they said it was like still warm and stuff. So I was impressed with that because I thought they would be like kind of like dirt bags and just kind of put like cold turkey out there.
Yeah.
I think that guy's like angling for a reality show. Like, he was all over the place. Like, they showed him like 14 times preparing whatever the post-game meal was. So that dude was going all out to do whatever he could possibly do for it. So no, I didn't think there was any shot on that one. So I was just amazed at how meat and football brought people together. Is really what it boiled down to. It was heartwarming, honestly.
Especially, right? It's always
heartwarming. Yeah.
Chicken wings, right?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
It was very, again, super heartwarming. So,
Jess, can we address Taryn's comment? I see it there in the comment section. I think it's Taryn's.
The one about being flexed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had that starred. We were going to get to that. Who here thinks the Niners Eagles should have flexed out Chiefs Packers? Yeah.
Yeah.
If that's the late game, I'm going to say I veto that because I'll be in Philly and I don't want to have to try and drive.
Would it have been great? Sure, but Fox has that game and they get to protect games, and there's no way they were coughing that game up.
Yeah,
like flexing games, even though they've made it easier to flex games or have more games to flex, flexing them is not particularly easy to do, right?
Yeah.
Like, there are particular games that networks are just going to be like, no, you cannot have this. Thank you and good day. So it's going to have to be like kind of those secondary matchups and things of that nature. So I'll be real interested to see what the what the Week 18 Sunday night game is going to be and how they're going to set up that schedule. So it was like I couldn't even sell those tickets until a couple of weeks ago because they hadn't picked a day yet for it, and they still really haven't picked a day yet for the game. But they finally allowed me to transfer my tickets. I'm like, thank you so much, guys. I wasn't planning on going on Saturday or Sunday, so I'd really just like to get them now before the game doesn't have any meaning. So,
do you have good seats, Becca?
I don't even remember where my seat is. I bought the ticket a long time ago. I'll just be standing. I'll stand in the standing area somewhere where there's lots of uniformed individuals.
Good way to put it.
Yeah.
You're going to be with a large group of people. I see. That's good.
Yeah.
Fox and CBS have the right to protect specific games, and they basically call invisible safe zone, floors lava, whatever it is, whatever they call it. So you're not.
What's up, Bebop?
The pool of games you're picking from is really not. They can't just shuffle everybody around.
Right.
So there's really got to be a solid reason to move it. And It seems like they really haven't moved that much this year. There hasn't been a hell of a lot of flexing. I didn't hear from like 1 to 4, 4 to 1, or any of that. So,
Guys, don't forget to hit that like button. And if you haven't already subscribed, please do so. We're on every Wednesday, 5 o'clock p.m. Pacific, 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern. What's up, 49ers Throwback? Got Bebop Jones in the house. Let's talk a little bit about that game. Besides the pick six, I thought Brock looked great. His chemistry with Brandon Ayuk is really showing, and it's really great to see. The O-line actually held up pretty good, especially I think it was on that. No, that would be the defensive line, but the offensive line held up pretty good. Because I was going to bring up what's the 41-year-old's name? Their offensive lineman.
Jason Peters.
Peters, yeah.
Yeah, he got trucked like a few times. It was great to see. But yeah, talk a little bit about the game. Ty, I'm going to start with you. Go ahead.
Yeah, I thought it was a good all-around game. I thought this was speaking of Brock, is one of his best games of the year. Just moving the ball, executing. There were times where the offensive line broke down and he made plays, be it with his legs, keeping his eyes downfield, just making it happen, even just getting out of potential danger and getting back to the line of scrimmage. I thought that was huge a couple of times. And the play where he was going down, he flipped the ball to George. That was a good heads up play, especially since, George was one of the people that missed that block. It was like, well, since you missed the block here, take this ball and make up for it. Right.
Do something.
So, yeah. So like, except for that interception down in the end zone there, other than that, he was solid. A beautiful game from him. We went back to bully ball, just ran the ball at him. Right. CMC, man. Whew. We talked about him last week. I should have mentioned this in our throwback segment. We all talked about how he should be in the MVP consideration, and it's a shame that he's not. What he did on Thursday was just phenomenal from beginning to end. And the defense, just out there, just being hungry. Defensive line flying around. I said Ambry Thomas will be an X factor. Hello, Ambry. Gets a pick, PBU in the end zone, played solid ball. And we got to take our hats off to Mooney Ward. The game he played, I mean.
Stepped up.
It was just an all-around solid performance on all facets. The special teams gave up some runs, but they also got a huge turnover. So kind of watched each other out, but great game all around. A game we've been waiting for 9 years, as we said.
Yeah, and just to go up to Seattle and take care of business, pretty much on the regular. I mean, we did that last year. Now we do it again this year. Hopefully, it's definitely becomes more of a regular thing. Maddie, go ahead. You're up.
Just exactly what you want to see, because it's a showcase game, right? And on a lot of these showcase games, especially when you're playing a division rival, they're amped up. They're at home. That Thursday night spot's a pretty big one now. That's a huge deal. So people don't want to get embarrassed. They don't want to get trucked. You heard them on the sidelines. Like, they were impassioned. I don't want to lose to these, right? Like,
Yep.
Didn't matter. You know what? I don't want to hurt like a 95-year-old man when I wake up in the morning. You know what? And I can pump myself up for it all morning while I lay in bed. Okay. But as soon as I move my legs off that bed, bam, there's the hip pain. There's the back pain. What's up? Right. No matter how I psych myself up for it, it is still there. Okay. And in that case, the Seahawks psyched themselves up to kick the 49ers ass, and they got trucked again. Right. They had a little spurt, right? They got their lucky touchdown, and then it was, right back to nothing. Geno Smith looks like straight up Jets Geno, man. Like, right out of he has reverted right back to the show. Their offensive line looks like it is absolutely non-threatening in any sort of way. There's
Mhm.
not anything on that defense that makes me say, gee, wow, we really got to get rid of the ball really, really fast there. Like, that team looks like they're off the rails. Oh, and fun fact, they don't even have the tiebreaker with the Rams anymore. So, like that's gone. So when they finish tied with the Rams in the last game of the season or whatever it is, like, they're going to end up losing the playoff spot. Like, the Seahawks aren't even going to make the playoffs. And a lot of people like thought they were like kind of a dark horse to win the NFC West
Yeah,
this year.
yeah. People were
So,
picking them
yeah.
too.
But that's a next week problem. So we'll talk about them again real soon. And a lot can change in a week, right? And but right now I feel pretty good on going 2-0 and against the Seahawks after what I saw last week.
Go ahead, Becca.
Yeah, I think the only thing that really hasn't been touched on as much is I think the way the defense played, especially with Geno. They didn't give him a butt crack worth of room to run. He had no place to go. Everybody that just kept the pressure in all the right ways. We didn't blitz crazy, but they were there putting pressure, getting, closing his pocket pretty quickly on him and not leaving him an out. So I liked watching that unfold, by the defense there. And of course, everybody's already mentioned the run game, the short passing game, how beautiful that pass to Ayuk was. Eggs in the basket, just like Bill Walsh used to coach. It was so beautiful. But yeah, Mooney, Ward, and lights out. The game was perfect, and well, maybe not perfect, but it was a really solid all around game that hopefully we rinse and repeat next week. They don't come in with some other game plan and trip us up, but I think we just outmatched them everywhere, and we'll take another dub next week.
I thought what was kind of annoying were the low snaps.
Yeah, there were a few.
Yeah, that's true.
And it kind of, because with Brock like bending down, coming up, and that, like it just kind of like as far as the rhythm, like that was kind of annoying.
It messes up the timing.
Yeah.
Timing.
Yeah.
And that's caused a lot by that noise, right? Because it's just not in sync. Like that's the biggest advantage Seattle has, is that crowd. As long as that crowd, as long as that crowd's into it, like they really do have somebody there that can get them amped up. So you do have to just survive it and then realize, oh wait, there's not enough talent behind that to sustain their excitement. So that's exactly what they did. And they just basically beat them into submission. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That was like watching games in the 80s. And I hate to bring these memories back up, but when the Bears started winning, right, in 85, when the Giants started winning 86, like they just, okay, here you go, Walter Payton, 25 carries a game. Here you go, Joe Morris, 25 carries a game, right? Here you go, Christian McCaffrey. Here's 25 touches a game, 30 touches a game, whatever it takes, right? Oh, wait, we'll just we'll jet sweep Devo off some things, right? Because you're going to be conditioned to be looking for CMC to get the ball. And Devo being healthy is a whole nother planet. When Devo's healthy, they don't have to do anything else. They don't have to get fancy. They don't have to throw it over they really don't even have to throw it that much. If CMC is running the ball okay, and then Devo's healthy at the same time, that's their most direct way to win. There's nothing else they have to do at that point, right? So, and then if they do decide to throw it, somebody's going to be open in that case because somebody's going to cover those two guys. So, not doubling anybody. It's impossible. Like, I feel bad for defenses, except I don't really care. So, screw off. Like, this is our time now, damn it. Like, so.
I had mentioned Brandon Ayuk as far as, the offense goes, and third 49ers wide receiver with 5+ receiving touchdowns in 4+ straight seasons. He's also, along with Terrell Owens and Jerry Rice, on that list. He's just, he's amazing. And I feel that, we're going to get to this, but I feel like he needs to show up again on on Sunday for sure. And I wanted to note, as far as the defense, they stayed in their lanes. So as far as like not letting Geno run, and they were very disciplined, and that's something that they're definitely going to have to do again on Sunday to contain Jalen Hurts.
Even more so, probably.
Yeah, for sure.
And it felt like penalties were down too. Like we didn't get called for, 80 yards of penalties in that game. At least,
Yeah.
I didn't go back and look at all the stats, but it just felt like it was a much cleaner game too.
It was a much cleaner game.
What's going on, Rick?
What up,
Thanks
Rick?
for joining us. Yeah. So anything else on this game before we get to the Eagles game?
Um,
I want to thank everyone who traveled to that game, because y'all
y'all showed out.
It looked good. It looked good on TV. They looked outnumbered.
Sounded
even
good
with
on
their
TV.
12th man, and it sounded
certainly did.
good, and it was great. Good stuff.
I believe it was after the first touchdown, or when we went up 10, you heard the chants of "Let's go Niners"
You did.
Yep.
from the crowd.
Yep.
And to hear that in a hostile environment like Seattle, where we didn't take over the entire stadium, but the faithful were still represented and loud and showed out. That was phenomenal. That I love to hear it. Just you and I and all of us, we've been there in those situations where we were a part of it.
Yep.
And to hear it on TV, just continue to keep going. It shows you, that's my family. That's my fan base. That's the faithful right there.
That's us.
We're going to that's right. We're going to show up and show out no matter what. So it's beautiful to hear. Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of games that we've heard that in this year. The Jacksonville game was a really good one, right? Because a lot of the Jacksonville fans clear out of there as soon as it looks like they're done. They're back to the parking lot to go make drinks, right? They're done. They're going for the post game tailgate at that point. So and extend their cocktail party. So 49ers fans just go down. And you can typically tell when the game is over based on how loud the "Let's Go Niners" chants are, no matter where they are. So it's been really cool. Now, not going to be that easy this week with only about, I guess they see 28-30% probably, which that sounds about right. 70-30 for Philly. They're pretty rabid. So Pittsburgh.
But now that's only through Vivid Seats, though.
Yeah.
Right. They only get that through that one. Yeah. One website. Yeah.
So, hopefully there will be a little bit more.
Yeah.
Right. But I like how Kyle was in his bag that game. I want to talk about that. In that third quarter, when we needed to get something going, you see him return the bully ball, just ran the ball. It was like 6 or 7 straight runs. Bully ball. Then he called his shot. And you saw him, they showed him on the sideline. And usually when he's on the sideline, he's got the play sheet over his face. He's pacing. He was standing still and just watching because he knew he dialed something up. And that was the touchdown pass to Ayuk. And it was a beautiful play. Kittle comes screaming across the field. He clears out the safety. Ayuk comes behind it. And you see Brock and Ayuk just on the same page. That's what you need from your number one QB and your number one wide receiver. Them on the exact same page, executing a beautiful play. And Rebecca, you alluded to it. It's the Bill Walsh throw, right? It was the Bill Walsh throw, the one we all want to see Brock perform more consistently. He missed it earlier in the game. Remember when Ayuk ran across the field from left to right, and the DB Witherspoon just kind of stuck out his hand and he tipped the ball. If you remember, that ball was kind of behind BA. He had to turn. It was trying to get it on his body, and it just luckily Witherspoon tipped it. If that was out in front, he walks into the end zone. Come back, Brock did not miss it on that second play. He hit him right in the bread basket in stride, allowed BA to take 2 steps and punch it into the end zone. Just absolutely beautiful football.
If you get a chance, watch Steve Young's. I think it's like a TED Talk or something. And he talks about having to learn to throw the ball blindly before the receiver's anywhere near where the ball's going to get to,
Mm-hmm.
and how you have to learn to have that trust and build that rapport. And when you watch when you freeze frame that throw, Purdy's letting that go, and Ayuk is still 15 yards back, toying with the coverage guy before he gets anywhere near where the ball ends up. It's and it's just, it would reminded me so much of the Bill Walsh, do it again.
Mm-hmm.
Do it again.
Do it again. Get it out in front of the receiver.
I don't care
Let
how
him catch it and run it.
Do it again. Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Young talked
Hey,
about
Randy,
that in
how
his
you
book
doing?
too. Hey,
What'd you say?
Randy. I said
What'd you say?
Young talked about that in his book too. That's when that's when he figured it out. When he was like, "Oh, I don't have to see everything. I have to know where I'm throwing the ball, et cetera, et cetera." Like, it was basically like he worked with Mike Holmgren on that all the time, but it was really Mike Shanahan that got him to understand that, right? Like, you need to do this, and you just need to throw it here, and that's it. Like, you don't need to wait and see that happen, right? Like, you don't. It's like when you're turning into an intersection, right? Like, you go to the red light and the green light. Like, with the green light, you're going to look a little bit real quick, but like to make sure nobody's trying to barrel through. But most of the time, you're going to trust that green light's going to come in, right? Like that the red light on the other side is stopping the other person from doing what they're supposed to be doing. So in this case, it's kind of the same thing. Like that dude's doing his thing, right? So he'll be there to get it. I just got to throw it there. So.
Exactly.
We've seen him do that. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. You know what I thought was an impressive throw, even though it was out of, he got Brock Purdy got George Kittle, but it was kind of like it was out of bounds, but it was still an impressive throw. Like even, just kind of hanging in there, like extending the play. I also thought that was impressive.
Yeah. Yeah. That's why I said this is one of Brock's better games.
Yeah.
Like he made plays. Like with his legs, extending plays, his ball placement, just making it happen. I mean, the protection was not always great. You alluded to the low snaps. He still handled them, right? And was still looking up, let me make my reads, execute this play. Brilliant game for him, right? It wasn't all that great statistically and all that stuff, but if you just look at his play and how he executed, it's beautiful. And that's why I say he's not elite yet. But when you look at a game like this and see how he performs, you can see the elite coming in a few years, right? Yeah. You can see he misses that pass to Ayuk on the first one, but he comes back later in the game and delivers a beautiful pass to him. It's like if he gets that and starts doing these things consistently from game to game and from quarter to quarter, we got our guy for the next 20 years. Like we got our elite guy for the next 20 years, right?
I hope
he's not there. He's not there yet, but he's not there yet, but you can see the traits of it. And that's what's exciting.
I mean, game by game, he's just really showing, who Brock Purdy is. And hopefully that, consistency and, everything just kind of comes into this coming Sunday. And I'm sure it will.
Oh, yeah.
Game balls. Go ahead, Becca.
Definitely Mooney Ward. I mean, he played just the best game probably of his life, shutting down that calf like that. And I have one for the sack attack, like the 6 sacks. Everybody gets a game ball for just.
And you get a game ball. You get a game ball.
You get 1.5, and you get a half. Game balls for all those guys for the sack attack, man. That was fun to watch too. CMC obviously gets one for that and for his game. And I had Brandon Ayuk for joining the Jerry Rice and Terrell Owens club there.
Yeah, for me, I'm going CMC, Debo, BA, Brock Purdy, Ambry Thomas, and just the whole entire defense.
Saying, see, you're like,
Yeah.
you.
and you.
Yeah. CMC and Mooney Ward definitely get one. They were the stars of the offense and defense. I got to give an extra one to Diamador Lenore and Ambry Thomas. The DBs have been much aligned. We're kind of aligned all year, maligned, I should say, all year with, giving up plays, playing too soft, this and that. They had a solid game, right? This is what the Steve Wilks influence we were looking for, where the DBs kind of set the tone, be shut down. They were that. On offense, I want to go just with Brock. He just played a great game. He's CMC and Brock. And this is just a well-rounded game. I was very happy for his performance.
Yeah, Maddie.
Darrell Luter Jr. for tracking down Dwayne Eskridge on that kickoff return that was almost a touchdown.
right after we scored.
Yes.
Oh man.
Like, bro, great job.
Mhm.
For real. That's what you want right
All
there.
of a sudden, I see a little head come behind you, Maddie.
Yeah, there's
He's been
always
popping in and out.
Yeah, about that time of night. But the biggest part of that was on the next play, Seattle comes out of that, and if Seattle, throws up a bomb to DK Metcalf or Tyler Lockett or JSN and gets a touchdown there, you're like, oh no, oh boy, you know what I mean? Like, here we go, we got a stupid shootout on Thanksgiving, right?
Yeah.
Completely changes the game.
Mm-hmm.
Instead, on that play, Geno Smith looks twice, goes, oh no, tries to run it, and is like, oh no, and slides down, like basically for like a loss or like a half-yard gain. It was nothing.
Yeah, he got back to the line of scrimmage, I think. It was nothing.
That's how this is going to be tonight. Oh, like Geno Smith is not going to be able to run on us, I see. This is pretty great. Mitch Wishnowsky, I saw him, somebody post that in the chat as well. He was absolutely on fire. He was dropping. He was like that dude that you play golf with, and he is just getting everything on the green, and you're like, what? Are you living right? Like, what are you doing? Like, what is happening here?
Yeah.
Like, are you feeding starving children? Like, what is going on? Like, he was crushing it. Like, he was just hitting bang, 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 bang. Everywhere he was going, he was getting everything. So,
yeah,
killer for him to have that. And then the other one would be Debo. Just having that attitude, having that speed out there, having him healthy, and just having that little bit of the touchdown. The first touchdown, it wasn't even touched. Wasn't
they were
even
confused.
touched. Jordan Brooks just was like, huh? He was so disgusted. Like, no wonder he got all mad and threw a tantrum, and it did absolutely nothing. Like, they were completely befuddled, and all they did was kind of set CMC up, kind of offset, right? That's all they did. They set him up
kind of
behind
brought
the tight
him
end.
in motion.
Yeah,
and just pitched it to Debo, and they were like,
so
who recovered?
So somehow that equaled let's not cover Debo, right?
At all.
You've got two guys right there. You've got 11 guys on defense, and none of the guys on defense are going to focus on Debo. It makes sense to me, right? Because the Seahawks have this vaunted defense that I hear so much about. So it's tremendous, and it's just unbelievable. So that was thought he deserved a game ball. He was good, and he was good on that drive too. That catch was good. Like when he's out there making plays, this offense is no one's stopping it. You've got no chance. It doesn't matter. I'm sorry about your fantasy teams if you had Kittle on them because he doesn't get that many snaps when Debo. He doesn't get that many targets when Debo gets targets, but I'll take the win.
Yeah, I have George Kittle, but that's okay.
They were doubling Kittle. They were paying attention to him.
Yeah.
So
they know
they have problems.
They usually suck covering the tight end.
Yeah, they know they have problems covering the tight end, and what George did to him last season, they was like, we can't have that again. We cannot have that again. Well, pick your poison.
What we'll do is we'll single up CMC and we won't cover Debo. Okay, brilliant. All right, let's go. Right,
works for me.
The game plan here.
On that.
Take that.
So I also want to shout out to this guy, Chase Young. 15 sacks in 3 games since acquiring Chase Young. He's really, started the, ramped up the D line for us. I feel very good signing. A lot of people don't think so, but I definitely. Yeah, it's that left turn that sometimes I take on Twitter.
I
Are these
don't
people
like that
aren't
graphic.
interested in winning Super Bowls? Like, is that their thing? Like, are they like, we don't want to win a Super Bowl, so we don't want book and pass rushers? Like, just about every good defense Super Bowl winner has bookend pass rushers, right? Like, that's just how it works. Like, that's how it goes. And you needed somebody else on the other side of Nick Bosa. It was abundantly clear. You had to have it. And he cost absolutely nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing. At the end of the day. Nothing. You're given, like, somebody gave you 5 cents. You took that 5 cents and traded it for him who's worth at least $1 with what you've got, right? In comparison, right? If not, oh well, somebody gave me that nickel. Who gives a damn, right? Like, and he's absolutely crushing it. Like, just fits in like an absolute glove. Like, I can't believe the league let him go to San Francisco. Unbelievable.
And do you think there's going to be all the more value this week with all of his experience playing against Philadelphia in that division?
Of course.
I mean,
Eagles, for some reason, have trouble with Washington.
Yeah, him and Javon Hargrave, very valuable this week.
Yeah.
Yep.
From what they can, tell us.
I was going to say, I don't like that graphic because it makes it seem as if he's the catalyst of it, as if it's all on him.
Right.
And a lot of the 15 sacks have come when him not even being on the field.
True.
So although
Very
he's
true.
a part, he's contributed, it's not all on him. Like, I can easily make a graphic that says 15 sacks since Steve Wilkes moved to the sideline. 15 sacks since the bye. Like, we can play that game, but how about 15 sacks since this team has been refreshed, re-energized, and all playing together? Because that's exactly what they're doing. Like, they don't care who gets to the quarterback as long as somebody gets to the quarterback. And right now, as we saw on Thursday, sometimes there's 3 guys getting the quarterback at the same time.
Exactly.
Hallelujah.
On third down from the 1-yard line, Geno Smith had to look up and see Chase Young, Javon Hargrave, Eric Armstead, and Nick Bosa lined up in front of him, just as the 4-man front. Okay, they didn't even need to threaten to send anybody else, just those 4. And that line collapsed in like 4 seconds, and he had like 0.4 seconds and had to dump that thing quick. Just those 4 on third down. If you're getting that sort of pressure on third down, 4 on 5, and you have everybody else back in coverage, you're not going to give up plays ever.
Sideline Steve.
I got sideline Steve at plus 50,000 for MVP.
All right, so it's Eagles week.
Yeah.
The Philadelphia Eagles are due for an ass beating. They are. And what better team to do that than our San Francisco 49ers?
There it is. Done.
I know, right? All right, we're done. That's it.
There you
Over.
go. Thanks for coming to the show.
Yeah.
I don't have anything I want to really add to that, honestly. Like, there is absolutely not. They're like a heel champion. Like, it was like when Rick Rude had the Intercontinental title. Like, you knew he was gonna win each night. You knew he was gonna cheat. You knew somehow things were just gonna break his way and he was gonna win. But you just wanted to see somebody beat his ass, right? It was kind of the same. He's the same deal, same vibe in that scenario. Like watching that Buffalo game the other night. You watch the Kansas City game. These teams just continue to beat themselves against the Eagles, and it's the most maddening thing in the world.
Right.
Kansas City dropped multiple touchdown passes. Multiple. And I'm not just like, oh, whoops, it was like a bad throw and it was behind him. No, it was like in the hands. Patrick Mahomes, the only way he could have done anything any better is if he had teleported it there himself using scientific knowledge that he got, from like a bye week or something. You know what I mean? There was no other way he could do anything. And then Buffalo last week, you've got 20 seconds and a timeout left. You already have a history of not doing so well in overtime. So what do? You take a knee. The football gods don't like it when you take a knee going into overtime. So what happens? Gabe Davis gets a case of the dropsies after being on fire all day. He drops a touchdown pass. I don't think any team has benefited from dropped touchdown passes more than the Philadelphia Eagles this entire season. Okay? It blows my mind. So now this sets up perfectly. Everything is set up in the 49ers' favor. And they have to win this game. They can go to the Super Bowl if they continue to play all the way through. But frankly, I think they've got a much better chance of going to the Super Bowl and a much chance of going to the Super Bowl and winning if they get the number 1 seed, so they can get the bye week and they can get the break and they can host everybody at Levi's in Santa Clara as opposed to traveling to any of these other places. Can they go on the road? Sure. Do I want them to? No. I want them to get through and not have to run the gauntlet this time. The way this team plays football, they need as much time off and as much rest as they can possibly get week to week to week. So this gap between Thanksgiving into Sunday at 4:25, perfect. Thank you so much, Buffalo, for at least taking them to overtime and playing like 94 snaps. Love it. Thank you. Keep that up, right? But if you don't win this game, you are absolutely not getting the 1 seed. That is a fact. It is not happening. So you win this game, then we've all got to kind of be temporary Cowboys fans next week and root for Dallas to win that. Because then if that happens, Philly's the 5 seed. And that would just warm all of our hearts during this holiday season. So I think that's what we all need to be rooting for here. This is a huge game. This is one of the biggest games of the Shanahan era. Non-playoff games, this might be the biggest.
Yeah,
Pretty
I mean,
close.
those 3 days of rest definitely helped us for sure. The 3 extra days of Kyle preparing has definitely helped. What do we feel good about going into this game?
I mean, I think just how well the run game is going, how well the passing game is going. I think, Philly's good. They're a very good team, but they're not the best in certain areas. I think their pass, I looked at statistics days ago, but their pass defense is not great. So I think, there's some ways to exploit that defense. And, I think as long as we don't let them run on top of us with Swift and Hurts, then I think, I feel good about how well the team's performing overall. I think we have a great shot to beat the snot out of them. Maybe not as well as we beat Dallas, but, up there.
Hey, you never know.
Exactly.
Go ahead, Ty.
Yeah, for me, it's what's not to feel good about. Like, we're clicking on all cylinders. If we play our brand of football and just execute like we've seen our players do for the past 3 weeks, I can't see us losing this game. I feel just as confident as I did going into the NFC Championship game last season.
Yeah.
Like, they can't deal with us. Right? Even with Brock being knocked out, we tied the game. We was in it. It wasn't until we had no quarterback that we were out of it. So, hey, we got a fully healthy team clicking on all cylinders. Our quarterback's on the rise. He's not holding on to the ball too long. They got problems. Not to mention our D line is hungry. hungry. They're getting after it. So,
and I think those guys want to stand up too and show that they're better or they're different than the team last year in the game, playoff game, because they got gassed. I mean, I saw somebody today say something about how our defense got run all over in that game, and I'm like, they were on the field the whole game. Like, of course they're going to get tired. The Eagles had the ball the whole entire second half practically. We were
exactly.
3-0.
And Eagles fans have been coming out talking smack and all this stuff. And they've been showing clips, and the clips have been from the late third quarter and the fourth quarter.
Mm-hmm.
when we had no quarterback,
Right.
defense is gassed. The game is over because we literally can't do anything.
Exactly.
And it's like, okay,
they're allowed to catch passes that are actually incomplete and be called for completions. Yes, that was also a thing.
It's like they're
one ever
talking
shows
smack
that
about
one.
the first half of the game.
No one.
Very first.
When they were
series,
tied.
right?
They were almost tied going into the half, right? At 7-7.
Right.
That was real close to happening.
Brian, to answer your question, they do clinch a playoff spot but there's also different scenarios. So like I think the Rams have to lose, something like that. There's different scenarios for them to clinch. They just don't win and they're in on Sunday.
A three-eyed monkey has to start chanting like some sort of something like Gaelic verse. I'm not positive. There's a spell involved. I'm not really.
Little eye of newt.
It's the way it happens. Yeah. Correct.
So Maddie, what do you feel good about?
I feel good about this offensive line. I feel good about this running game. I feel good about the fact that this is not a scenario where a rookie quarterback is going into Philadelphia all wide-eyed, bushy-tailed, freaked out. No. I don't think there's anything at this point that's really going to rattle Brock Purdy. I think he's seen pretty much most of the stuff at this point, right? Like, he's seen most of the things. He's done well against most of it. He's figured out his way through most of it, right? So I feel good about that. I feel good about the health of this team, and I feel good about this defense being able to shut teams down and get turnovers. Getting the turnovers is like the thing. If you get turnovers, you give this guy a short field. Give Kyle a second to do a little sneaky one-play drive. He'll love that every single time. Like, there is nobody better. You know what I mean? There is nobody I want more to be the offensive play caller after turnover than Kyle Shanahan. So set him up for success. Set Brock Purdy up for success. Set this offense up for success. And the defense can do that. So the other thing I feel really good about right now, there's even though they had that run against Eskridge where he almost broke it out, that special teams starting to really have some energy, hitting a little bit. I think getting some of those guys back off of IR, Womack, Han, Luter, etc., like, has been really helpful. So they just signed the dude. They signed Jordan Matthews, buddy, from Atlanta there. So I know that's a big deal too. So So I feel good about the special teams for the first time in years too. Like, Moody's been decent. Wish has been all pro almost.
Yeah,
honestly, he could be an all pro punter.
We've been taking him for granted, kind of, because he's
really
been doing it since
much.
week 1, and it kind of gets overlooked. But he's definitely all pro punter. I mean, my lord, you beautiful son of a Mitch.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, real quick. Since said Brock will come into the game PO'd, I think he'll come into the game determined.
Yeah.
Because we saw how in the playoffs last year versus Dallas, he didn't have a good game. He went to Kyle, said, "Hey, this year we played Dallas. I want to play well. Let's talk. What do I got to do?" We saw in Philly last year, just held on to the ball too long, right? Didn't trust what he saw. Look what he's doing this year. He's trusting what he's seeing. He's seeing the opening before guys make their break, and he's letting it fly. So he's going to come into this game determined. All right, I know I made a mistake last year. This year I ain't making it.
Yeah.
Let's go out and torch these boys. So, yeah, I think he's going to come in determined to play well, and he will play well because that's just his mentality, and we've seen him do it.
Yeah, I think he's definitely better than last season. Just smarter play within the pocket. Does last year's game factor into Sunday at all?
Nope.
I mean, that depends. Are we talking Debo trash talk with these guys?
No,
These guys are bantering back and forth about
what happened, like just the events, what happened, obviously with Brock Purdy, we lost, does that factor in at all?
They'll say it doesn't, and it's all great, but I'm telling you, if they win, you're going to get every article in America, and it's going to say, and they're all going to flash back to last year, right? Yep. Oh, well, last year when this happened, on the side, they're going to go back and they're going to recycle that whole game and then go from there. So, yeah, it does. And it very much reminds me of the, after the 92 NFC title game, lost to the Cowboys. The next year, I think it was week 6, they had to go to Dallas. They ended up losing by 9. They were up at the half and then ended up losing in the second half. Eric Davis returned a touchdown. Where Emmitt Smith fumbled, clean as a sheet. Eric Davis picks it up, runs into the end zone. You're like, they got a chance, right? And they lose by 9. And then, of course, the NFC title game happened. They lost again. That was one of those games where you're like, man, I guess we really can't beat the Cowboys. You know what I mean? And if you lose a game like this to the Eagles, where you have them on the ropes and you let them off the hook, as the late great Denny Green once said, it's gonna become one of those deals. It's gonna become one of those mental things. It's like, and then you're gonna end up having to face them again. You're gonna have to make this march across the country again in January. So it's a huge one. This is so big. This is season defining. This could be like Shanahan era defining. Like if this game doesn't go well and it untangles, we can point to this game and be like, man, how the hell did that happen? Mm-hmm. Everything was going so good. Or if we win this one, it's like, man, we really wiped everybody out, put everybody in the dust. That was the moment, right? This is a very fixed point in time game. I am looking forward to it. I wish it was 4:25 p.m. on Sunday right damn now. Like, I'm ready to go. I can barely get out of bed in the morning, but like I would run through a wall, like, and I'd be in the hospital immediately after. But like, let's go.
Yeah, Matt, I was just going to add to your point that it doesn't matter how the game goes. The pundits are going to pull this out and be like, see, the Niners are who we thought they were. They could have won last year. They're all of this. On the flip side, if we lose, they're all going to be like, it was all talk.
Brock Purdy's not elite. Blah 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 blah.
Your tears last year.
Blah blah blah.
Quarterback, you won because we didn't have anybody to throw a ball, and we walk in there and lose, and they're all going to be like, "See, the Niners are overhyped. We've been saying it all year." That kind of thing. So you're going to get that on no matter what happens in the game. But I do think we've got a really great chance.
Yeah, I agree. The pundits are going to say what they're going to say no matter what. And, they probably got articles pre-written right now to go left or right, no matter what. Well, I got bullet points for this and I got bullet points for that. So I can spit this out the minute the game is over, right? Yep. That's what they do. I don't think this game has any bearing on last year because last year was just too freaky, too fluky. It was just weird. Like, we know the catch that wasn't a catch, and somehow NFL New York does not review it. Right. But on Sunday, the Philly receiver fumbles the ball, and they reviewed that quickly and called into the link, and was like, "Oh yeah, that's not a fumble." Oh, so you can review a play quick.
They could literally send it via
passenger. That was the quickest review ever.
Exactly, and it came from New York, so it's like, oh, so New York is watching when you only have one game on. you can do a quick review and call into the stadium. Okay, I see how it is. But remember, like that happened. And then, of course, Brock gets hurt. And remember, even before that, Nick Bosa standing on the sideline and gets speared by someone's cleat running down the field. And I believe Fred got hurt early in that game. Yeah, it was a freaky, weird game from the start. Yet we were still in it, still battling, still giving them fits. That crowd was quiet in the first half until we just literally had no quarterback. So it's a lot at play there. You can't look into it. I think this is like starting fresh. And the whole talk back and forth and the pundits talking, that's just to hype up a fight. That's just being Don King at this point, you know, trying to get the ratings up.
What does this game say about Brock if we win or lose?
That he's going to be an MVP candidate if we win, and if he's not, then he's not elite. That's what I don't think that. Like, I just think it's another regular season game, right? But that's how it's going to be. Like,
The
that's
narrative,
how it's going
right?
to be portrayed, right? That's going to be the narrative. If we win, Brock Purdy should be the MVP. They'll skip over CMC. They'll skip over all the other stuff. It should be Brock Purdy, Brock Purdy, Brock Purdy all the time, right? Purdy all the time, Purdy all the time. Sorry, Eddie Murphy. I'm sorry about that.
Girl wants
all
the time.
We should do like a Weird Al Yankovic thing, but only Purdy all the time, right? That should be. We should do that.
All Purdy puns.
The Purdy Pun album.
Man. The Purdy Pun album. Yeah, I like that. Anywho, we'll put a pin in that and just set that aside. But if he doesn't, then it's going to be like, well, Brock Purdy can't win the big game. You know how he can't win the big game? Well, he had a chance to win one here and he didn't win it, right? So that will be exactly what happens. So.
But is this well, I mean, you think it's a big game because of just the number one seed implications. We still make the playoffs. We still have a chance to get in and win. I don't know. The Seattle game next week is fairly important to really give us a command lead in the.
Oh, they gotta run the table at this point. Like there's no
a lot of
doubt.
important games,
But if you don't, it doesn't matter if you run the table after this week, right? If you lose this week, no one cares. You know what I mean? Like you're basically locked into the 2 seed at that point. So.
Yeah, it depends on Brock's performance, how he does, like, and you got to give it a real assessment. You can't go with people who just look at the stats and be like, oh, his DMV percentage and his OPP value and his LGBTQ, ratings says, they pull out these acronym ratings just to say all this stuff. It's like you're making this up at this point. Exactly. Yeah. They got charts now. Oh my gosh, the stupid charts. I can't.
I can't
with
the
team logos, the charts. I can't.
Oh, I look at the charts and I'm like, really? What? Like, what is this?
Exactly.
OPP, NWO. It was ridiculous.
Exactly.
You tell me OPP.
Like his NWO sales says he's the number 3 in the league and he's better than Mahomes. And like, what are you talking about? So it's like we have to watch the game and evaluate him and see how he does. Like I mentioned, the Seattle game. What do you have? Like 200 yards passing, 1 TD or something. I don't even remember. It wasn't the great statistical game, but when you see his performance and how he performed, how he executed, great game. And that's what we should be evaluating him on. Our eye test, what he does, how he performs for 4 quarters. Like let's sit back and do that first. I think it's a big game for him. It's always a big game when you're on the road, cross country, against a conference rival, someone you're rivaling to go to the Super Bowl with and such. So, but as we've seen, the guy performs. So I think he'll step up.
Is this a legacy game?
It could be.
That's too early to tell, I think. Yeah.
If we had we got a couple of years of battle with the Eagles, like we have with the Cowboys, then it's saying something. But like last year was just like one fluky game that we can't even judge, right? Because we know what happened. So it's like I said, this one is like kind of starting from scratch, really. It's just been built up as hype, and let's see what happens. But there's still a ton more football to be played, and we might play them again. So it's too early for that.
The Eagles season is kind of cool because it's like basically this week and next week are their two tough games, right? They get to play the Giants 2 out of the last 3 weeks of the year, right? Like Tommy DeVito is gonna what are we doing here, right? Like
Right.
what do we got going on? I don't
Mom's
even.
gonna
I
make
can't
him
even
some
discuss,
soup
right?
and make his
So they've got.
bed.
They do have a trip to Seattle, but we just went there, and I think we know how that goes, right? You know what I mean? Like at the end of the day, we have to, and in this case, we being the San Francisco 49ers, need to take care of business this weekend, because if there's no business taken care of this weekend, nobody else is going to. That's it. Like there's no, at that point you're sitting with 4 losses, then you're going to need them to have to lose to Seattle. They're going to have to lose to Seattle, Dallas, the Giants, or Arizona, right? And they're going to play the Giants twice out of that. I don't like the chances. So this to me is a legacy game. If you want to start a dynasty sort of deal, you want to win a title sort of deal, you got to win this football game on Sunday. So yeah, I mean, yeah, in a way it really is kind of a legacy game, one way or the other, either for this team or for him.
What do we need to do to win this game? Go ahead, Becca.
Ambry Thomas is going to have to play really, really well. I think the DBs are going to get tested big time. I think that's a big piece of it. The defense is really going to have to play a really smart game. I like it if we can get
none of this stuff. That's gotta go. No grabby grab.
No grabbing, no offsides and flinching and getting stupid penalties for no reason. That's gotta just be clean. I do think, that the passing game and run game have to get established, especially if it's going to be raining. We're going to need the run game to really pop off early. We're going to have to do something, because I think they're calling for rain in like a 50% chance. So depending on the timing of all that. So if it's wet and sloppy, we're going to have a really great run game established. But I do think they'll test the corners. People have been trying it all year. And, I think Ambry Thomas will be tested pretty good, and probably Mooney Ward again too. But yeah, I think that particular facet of the game has to be solid.
For me, the Yak Bros.
Mm-hmm.
And we have to stop the run.
Oh yeah, that's the other side of it too.
Both prongs of that run, not just DeAndre Swift. You
Right.
also have to keep Jalen Hurts from
Right.
getting third downs and extending drives with his legs, right? Keep them out of third, fourth, and short, right? Don't give them the opportunity to do that stupid ass play, right? Just don't give them the opportunity. They can't do it on 4th and 5, right? So don't. You know what I mean? Like that's where it's at to me. That's really and continue you got to win the turnover battle. Like it needs to be like 0-2 on the turnover battle, right? Straight up on that. Special teams has to continue to do all the things that it's doing, whether it's they're forcing turnovers or coming up with turnovers if somebody muffs something, or maybe blocking a kick. I feel like we're due for a block kick at some point. They almost had one last week. Actually came pretty close.
Mm-hmm.
So I could see that. Or just Jake Moody has to bomb in 5 because stuff gets tight in the red zone. But this Philly defense can be run on. They're not quite as trenchy as they used to be, if you know what I mean. You know what I mean? And that's frankly that's because we said, hey, we would like Javon Hargrave, thank you. So let's go ahead and take that. Let's go ahead and take the highlight of your thing and go from here, right? And that's what they did. And this is your chance to really open that up and show them how much that's going to affect them and how much that did affect them. So, and keeping keeping any of those guys, keeping any of their three-headed monster running backs off of it. So they don't have a tight end. Devontae Smith is as big as my pinky finger at this point. Figure out a way to keep AJ Brown down, and you should be okay. It's actually been amazing that Philly's been able to win games this year because they really haven't looked. I don't think they've looked as good as they looked last year at this time. But teams are just falling all over themselves outside of the Jets. The Jets got it together. The Jets got it together against them.
Well, and speaking of, AJ Brown and Devonta Smith, the 49ers' two top corners, Mooney Ward and Demo, were excellent versus Philly last season. Only 2 combined catches for 16 yards allowed.
Yeah. See, this was going to be my key. Ambry Thomas.
Yeah.
Him on the outside. Because last year, as Lombardi just said, Mooney and Lenore were locked down on the outside. They were fantastic. As we know this year, when we go nickel, Lenore gets bumped inside. So that means Ambry's going to be outside. So I can see them once again testing Ambry. Like, okay, let's see if we can have some success versus this guy. In 2021, when Ambry was a rookie and in Tennessee, we know they went at Ambry with AJ Brown when he was there, right? That was that game. AJ had a big game. Part of that was going after Ambry. Of course, Ambry was a young rookie, just got thrown out there. This is totally different, but I'm pretty sure that'll come up and they'll say, hey, we can have success with AJ versus this guy. Let's go after him. So that's going to be a key on defense. On offense, I was just going to say, just Kyle, do what you did last year. Kyle, do what you did last year because it was working. Mm-hmm. We were moving the ball. They weren't stopping us. We were in the game.
And they were a much better defense last year.
Yeah. When we were in the game with our fourth quarterback and then with no quarterback, we were in the game.
With CMC, the Swiss Army knife out there.
Exactly. Running double reverses.
Brock was 4 for 4 before he got hurt.
Yeah.
Exactly. So just keep doing what you were doing. Like we saw that first play, Kyle came out aggressive. He was taking a shot on that first play. Like he was about to go for it. Like he wasn't holding back. He wasn't waiting until the third quarter. He was going for it. I mean, not the first play, the fourth play. Sorry. So just keep doing what you was doing. You got something in you. Just figure it out. On special teams, Brian Schneider needs to really be situationally aware. Like in Seattle, we were up 24-3, and he once again called for his stupid corner kickoff play. Mm-hmm. It's like you're up 24-3. Your defense is shut down. You almost gave up a big return in this game. Tell Jake Moody to just kick it out the end zone. You know he can kick it out the end zone with his eyes closed. Stop telling your special teams unit, all right, perform this corner kick and let's try to trap them inside the 20. Like he did that and they returned the ball to the 24. So you gained a yard. Ooh, big win. Be situationally aware.
Yeah.
Just kick the ball. If it's a situation like that where defense is dominating and we're up, continue to let the defense dominate. Don't give them an opportunity for a big return and a momentum swinger. Just kick it out the damn end zone and let the defense do their thing.
Okay. Toughest
Hold on,
match.
I have to take it.
Oh, go ahead.
To take a quick second here. I have to take one thing. David, you can't call them the Kegels because, that's insulting to Kegels themselves. Kegels keep things tight and
exactly.
And we already know the Eagles can't do that. Okay,
that's right.
It's disrespectful to Kegels, so let's just stop it. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
And men, do your Kegels too. Okay? It's actually good for your health.
Right. Yeah, that's good. It's good for your health. See.
Okay. Toughest matchup for us. Go.
I mean, I think
Keeping us versus third downs.
I was going to say second down, second and whatever, because the Eagles just want to get to third and short, so they go run the thumb up your butt play. So for real, if you look at their offense, if they're not successful on first down.
You know what? I don't know why that's allowed. I hate that play.
Yeah.
We call it the TIYA play. What's that? That's not your ass play. Oh, okay, great. All right. That's what we got going on.
TYA. Here we go again. Is that stick him on his hands? No, it's Vaseline. But yeah, they just try to complete a short game to get it short so they can run something. So it's like, all right, let's keep those linebackers a little bit closer so they just can't dump it off and get cheap yards underneath and force them into third and longs, as Matt alluded to earlier.
Yeah, Maddie.
You can't have that in-game letdown either, like you did kind of in the third quarter against the Seahawks, where they threw the pick six, and they almost threw the pick six on the play before.
Yep.
Like I thought the pass to Debo was going to get picked off and taken back the other way, and I'm like,
that
okay,
was scary.
Let's not do any more of that, right? And then literally on the next play, they're like,
let's
really get it right this time.
I know, right? We didn't execute well. Let's do it again.
And then on the next offensive series, false start, nobody knew the snap count. Like it was just a mess. Like you could tell they were completely like, whoops, like they just got off their game a little bit. So you can't have any letdowns like that against Philly. As soon as you give them a crack, they are slipping through. Like Buffalo had multiple chances to put them away last week in third quarter and just couldn't quite get over the hump. I've seen a couple of different teams this year against Philly where they've had a chance to just keep themselves away. Like KC had a couple of chances to put them away and just couldn't get it done. Couldn't drop the leg and get the 3 count, right? Just couldn't do it. And if you have that chance here, you have to do it. Like if you have the chair in your head, you have to crack them over the head with it. Like you just got to do it.
You have your foot on the throat, you have to keep it there, right?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. There's no, you can't show mercy. You can't help them up. Like, no, there's none of that. Sleep the leg.
Go ahead, Becca.
I think, not getting in our own way with penalties is probably going to be the tough. For me, it's going to be loud. It's going to be that kind of thing. We just like everybody's alluding to other teams, we just cannot beat ourselves. That is the thing I don't want to see happen. Otherwise, I think, statistically or on paper, whatever, we match up well. And I think we have a really great chance to win. It's when you penalize yourself and get behind the sticks and you can't, then you're in, these long yardage situations that are so hard to recover from. I think that's something, we get into some of those games where it's just ugly to watch. If we're not on, we've got people bouncing around all over the place, creating, offsides penalties or, holding calls, all of that nonsense. We can't do that to ourselves. Can't be a dirty game. It's got to be clean.
All right. X factors on offense. Go ahead, Ty.
I'm going to go with Brandon Ayuk. I think this is a game where their corners have been chirping, basically all year because of what Debo said. And they know Brandon's that guy. And they're going to try to come out and do something. And I think he's going to cook them. So he's my X factor. He's the guy I think is going to just have a good day.
Mine is Debo, because with him calling Bradbury trash, I think he needs to show up big time on Sunday. And I'm also going to go with George. I know it's shocking, but they are terrible in defending the middle. So Kittle over the middle all day. Those are my X factors on offense.
They are not good guarding tight ends, and they are not good guarding tight ends that can run over the middle. So 100% Kittle to me is the guy. I think he's going to get some targets in this game. And I think he's going to get quality targets. If they get into the red zone, he'll probably get all the targets, right? Like it'll be him. And
As he should.
As he should. I was actually surprised that Buffalo didn't take more advantage of Kincaid against them last week. He was open. If you go back and watch the all-22,
Yeah.
like there were plenty of opportunities for Kincaid to get the ball last week, and Buffalo was just like, we'll try to do something else. And sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't, right? But I think the 49ers are smart enough to know to take what they're given, right? And Kittle being out there and being able to do things like when he gets the ball in the middle, like he can run it like a wide receiver after he catches it still, right? Even this far into his career. And that makes everything dangerous. And that can really open things up for this offense. So yeah, Kittle to me is the big X factor in this game.
Go ahead, Becca.
I think it's going to be, for me, I was also going to say Brandon Ayuk, but I also think Juwan Jennings is going to get, some good targets because I do think they will try to shut down Brandon Ayuk, but Debo as well is I think he needs to have a really great game here. You're going to talk the talk, boy. You better get out there and walk the walk. So do the thing. But, I think the X factor really has to be the offensive line too, to give Purdy time in the pocket and take care of that.
You're going to write that check. Your ass better be able to catch it, right? Like, no.
Hey, Songbird.
All right, what about on defense? Go ahead, Maddie.
Nick Bosa. I need a Nick Bosa 4-sack, 4-shrug, FU Philly performance. Like I need air in my lungs. Like I think it's just one of those attitude things, right? Like when Trent Williams is out knocking people on their ass and Deebo Samuel's out knocking people on their ass. When Nick Bosa's sacking quarterbacks, it just changes the game because it adds that extra fear of, oh God, Nick Bosa's hot today. That's not what we need, right? And it's basically kind of like when Deion Sanders was on the field. Not that Deion Sanders was a pass rusher, but when he was on the field, wherever he was, like you probably weren't going to throw to that side of the field, right? So wherever Nick Bosa is, you're probably going to either run away from that or try to run around it or completely avoid it. So that's what I want to see here. I want to see Nick Bosa like big sacks early, like boom, boom, boom. Keep Hurts in the pocket so that he can't get out. Keep him cornered and keep him from being able to break that pocket. Because if you do that, he's still not at the point yet where he trusts all his receivers. That's why they sometimes bog down. He's waiting to see the play go. And he's good enough to get clear and do those things right now. But as he gets older, he won't be able to do that. So right now, you have a chance to really set the tone in this game. And to me, it's Nick Bosa. That's another one. Stay it, cash it, right? He can definitely cash a check for anything at this point. So I'd like to see him do that physically as well and statistically.
Yeah, I'm going to go the defense. Defense has to stay in their lanes, and the secondary has to lock down on A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith. We have to be disciplined for sure. Go ahead, Becca.
Yeah, I was going to go with the defense. I want to see another sack attack week, a good 6-sack day in Philly. Why not? I think what we did to Geno, if we can do that to Jalen, then it's going to be a real nice day, rain or no rain.
Yeah, Ty.
Yeah, I'm just going to go with the left side of the defensive line, left defensive line and left defensive tackle. Hurts likes to roll right, rush out to his right, and he's much better throwing when he rolls right. When he goes left, he's not as effective, right? So if we can contain that left side and also get pressure so that he can't, roll right, I think we'll do very well just in that aspect. So whoever's playing over there, that'll be key.
All right. Anything else with this game?
I need a win here. Yeah, I'm so glad it's here. I've been waiting for this game since I walked out of the stadium last year. So yeah, 100%.
It's like even like during Super Bowl week, it was like you guys play Philly again next season. It was being talked about since
Already.
then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was
It's like we don't
middle of
even
the
know
third
when
quarter.
it is.
Yeah.
Right. And it's like, wait a minute. Time out. There's still a whole lot that can happen until then. So it's been talked about and whispered about and this and that. And even at the beginning of the season, it was like, Philly's still on the schedule. If they play like this during Philly, and when we lost games, they can't play like this with Philly coming up. Like it was still whispered about. It's like, thank God it's finally here so we can actually see the game and watch it and, root for our guys.
The only two 49ers games that have ever been regular season games that have ever been more hyped and then were the Monday night game against the Giants in 1990, where both teams were supposed to be undefeated and they lost the weekend before. Ruined that. Yeah. That game was talked about for weeks up until that game. I had never seen them hype up an in-season game like that in my life. And then the 94 49ers Cowboys game, the regular season game in November of that year, the 21-14 49ers win. That was hyped up just as much as well. So I have not seen this level of hype for a regular season game since either of those two games. So craziness to me. This is huge. This is a huge game. Huge. Monstrous.
It definitely is. All right.
Do you think it's a big game?
A little bit. All right, let's go to that hurry up offense in the 2-minute warning. Go ahead, Ty.
Hey, anybody traveling to Philly this week, be safe. And remember, not all Philly fans are jerks. It's just a lot of them are. So it makes them look bad overall. Yeah, I'm like, most of them are. Like, they teach their kids this stuff. It's insane. But have fun, enjoy, be safe, and root for your Niners like crazy. Let them know you're in the building.
Be disciplined. Let's get some turnovers. Let's protect the ball. Let's get this dub. Let's chase after this 1 seed. As always, go Niners. Go ahead, Becca.
All right. Best wishes to George Odom. His surgery was successful, so heal up there. Congrats to BA. We talked about him joining Rice and Owens. And CMC for the ground player of the week. Good job there. Be safe, everyone going to Philly. Let's have some fun. If you need to know where all of the events are, just message me. I can send you all the details for where all the meet and greets and such are. And don't forget to go vote for all our guys in the Pro Bowl. And, of course, go Niners.
Yeah, make sure you vote for them in the Pro Bowl so that they can get those bonuses for not playing, because they'll be in the Super Bowl next week.
Right.
Okay? They'll get listed in the team, so be it. If you do go to Philly, make sure you're around with a group. Do not walk by yourself down there. Straight up, just don't do it. It's not worth it. You don't know who you're going to run into. You're 100% correct. Not all Philly fans are jerks, but the ones that are on the fringe will definitely turn into ones if they have ones around them, because they'll empower themselves to do that.
Yeah.
So be careful. If you're by don't be by yourself. Be with a group. Also, don't be afraid to hold up your child as a shield, because they will usually leave your child alone. So don't worry about that either. Always a good time there. But seriously, have fun, and don't, like, if the 49ers do go down there and win, do not be down there talking trash. Like, you just asking for trouble. Like, smile, be happy, and get the hell out of there, because odds are they're gonna play that team again. Also, remember Philadelphia comes to Levi's next year during the regular season. So, fun fact.
Good stuff.
Tuck that away. I know a guy with tickets. So, you know.
Awesome. All right. Thank you to everybody in the chat. Don't forget to like, subscribe if you haven't already. We appreciate you. Thanks for tuning in. Thank you to you guys. Great show. And enjoy the game. Becca, be safe. And go Niners.
Boop, boop.
Bang, bang.
And of course, for the upstart 49ers, they're 6 yards away from Pontiac. 3rd and 3.
We'll see a pickup sometime on the right side, possibly.
Montana looking, throwing in the end zone.